So I was 20 years old when I first entered the remote sales scene. Going on sales call after sales call, trying to improve, and wondering when that first long-awaited deal would finally happen. Sometimes I did take as many as 10 calls per day, yet I still couldn't close my very first deal. At this point, doubt started to creep in, and I began asking myself, why can I not close any deal, and what am I doing wrong? Fast forward 2 years, which is the present day, I am making between $10,000 to $15,000 through remote sales. And have a community where I teach hundreds of my clients the same exact method which I will be teaching you in today's video. So what changed? What allowed me to go from a broke teenager to living the life of my dreams in just 2 years? Well, it's mastering the art of objection handling. And in today's video, I'll be taking a deep dive into the easiest way to handle objection and help you sell anything to anyone without even trying. So ladies and gents, before we get this video started, make sure you have your notes. And if you have any questions throughout the video, make sure to drop them in the comment section below. And if you want me to dive deeper to any of your questions, feel free to join the free community in the description below. You'll find the link over there. But I'm going to break down exactly what objection is in today's video in this our friend whiteboard right here. So what is an objection? That's the number one thing that we need to discuss. Essentially, an objection is a reasoning or the blockade or the roadblock a prospect faces to get to their desired outcome, right? Because as a sales rep, you need to think as if we're just helping the prospect out to get to their desired outcome. That's why they're on the call. So before we get started, so you need to understand there's two different types of objection, right? Now that we know objections is literally just getting the prospect from point A to point B, that's simply what an objection is. What is the roadblock that they're facing from point A to point B? That's the main thing on why we're on the call. That's the main thing why we're helping them out. So before we keep moving forward, you need to understand that there is two different types of objections, which is a smoke screen objection and then a real objection, right? I'm not gonna write down the entire thing out, but so it's a smoke screen objection and a real objection. The reason why I did an arrow here is because you need to figure out the smoke screen first and you need to get them to a real objection and figure out the real objection. I'm gonna give you guys in a couple minutes here on how you guys can get it from a smoke screen to a real objection and how do you handle it that way, right? So a couple example for a smoke screen is, I'm gonna think about it. This is the most common thing everybody faces is I think about it objection. Everybody faces that. I'm gonna talk about it with my partner. Send me more information about this and all the other stuff that everybody faces. Depends on what industry you're in. And also, pro tip, if you guys are handling objection, you want to make sure that the offer that you're in is good, you actually have conviction into it, and you actually believe that they're gonna get to the desired outcome if they do your service. That's the easiest way to have conviction when you're on a call with someone and they're giving you objection and you're able to handle it because you have conviction. So even if you don't know how a framework works to handle objection, if you have the conviction while you're on a sales call, you can easily handle any roadblocks or any excuses the prospect gives you. So after you identify the smoke screen, now some example for a real objection is money. This is number one. Fear, logistics, and I'm gonna be honest, even partners sometimes, right? So partner objections, you need to identify and discern if they're BSing you or are they actually giving you an actual objection, right? So as a sales rep, as a closer, you need to be able to discern from the two, right? Listen to their tonality. Are they looking at you, right? With all of your experience you've had so far, do you feel like this person is telling you the truth? Or are they just, giving you like an excuse so they can get off the call, right? Those are some examples for a smoke screen and a real objection. And now you might be wondering, so how do you go from a smoke screen and to a real objection? How do you identify it and how do you actually handle the objection itself? So I'm gonna give you guys a quick framework that I use for anything for handling objection. The first thing is you need to identify it, obviously, right? After you identify it, you need to acknowledge the objection that you have in front of you, even if it's a smoke screen. And then your main objective from identifying, acknowledging is to isolate. Isolate the objection itself, because sometimes even prospects, they might give you multiple objections. And usually when this happens, it's because you might have not asked the right question at the discovery phase or you didn't challenge them enough during your gathering phase on figuring out their current situation. So after you isolate it, then you can handle an objection, right? You can handle it now once you've isolated it. And the best way to handle it is by giving an analogies and asking for questions. So you need to get more buy-ins on the program, isolating them from the program or the service you're providing, you're selling, and then also the objection that you're giving you. So you need to separate the two, give them a gap, and then make sure get some buy-ins if they actually truly believe on the program that you're selling. So let's role play this right now. Again, this is very, situational, because you might be in B2B, you might be in D2C, and it's a tiny bit different, but the framework itself still stands. It's still going to work out if you use the same framework. So let's role play this real quick. So let's say you're Joe. I didn't ask you to give me an objection. Oh yeah, let me just go ahead and think about it. And then I come, perfectly fine, Joe. So let me ask you, besides once you go ahead and think about it, what exactly is gonna come up once you sit down and think about it to even see I can help you out here? And then usually, if they said, think about it, oh, maybe it's just the money, I just don't understand this. Now they're giving you the objection, but obviously it's all situational. They might be more harder prospect because there's different types of prospects, right? And then you need to ask them more questions after that. And then once you figure out, oh, it's just the money. Okay, got you, man. So it's just the money that's stopping you moving forward today. So besides the money itself right now, and let's say you do have the money to move forward today, would you do it, right? And you guys say yes, yeah, 100%. I'll move in. I'll definitely move forward with this because I think you can help me out. And then if they say that, then you get another buy-in and you tell them, okay, got it. So if you do have the money, you'll move forward. It's just really the money that's stopping you. So let me ask you, Joe, why would you do it? Now this is another buy-in that you're asking is, why would you do it, right? So usually they'll now list out the things on why they want to do this. Again, this is more buy-ins for them. You're just reeling them in so they can actually fully commit and understand on how the program is. And if they are somewhat confused on how the program works, then your pitching might need some work, right? And that's another video, another topic for another video. But again, now that we got buy-ins, now the next step is, if it's just the money, you can ask them now first, like, okay, so 100% Joe, I definitely agree with you. I see where you're coming from. And in terms of investment wise, to help you get to X, Y, and Z goal, and usually this is their desired outcome, just ask them, how much money do you actually have, or how much capital do you have for you to get started into this program, or for you to get started today? How much money are you willing to actually put down so we can get you closer to your X, Y, and Z goal? And now he's actually gonna give you an actual amount, right? And usually you can work out some payment plan for them, or if you guys have financing, you can do that. So that's a simple way on how to handle the money objection, but obviously this is gonna vary from fear objection, from think about it, to fear, think about it, to partner, and then to trust between you, or maybe it's the trust between him getting the result. So there's a lot of things, and there's so many objections, and we're gonna spend hours here if I break down one by one on all of them. But again, I want you guys to see this as an overarching idea on how to handle any objection that was thrown into you. So it's very important for you to do mock calls and figure out what are some of the common objections on whatever you're selling right now, any service you're selling right now. Figure out the common objection. Because for example, when I was selling a Amazon FBA offer, the most common objection is the money, what are you guys' actual results, and then, like my partner. So those are the three things, because it's B2C. And obviously this is gonna be situational for B2B because they're more logistical people, right? So they just need to move some money around. And then now you need to make it make sense for them that if you keep pushing this down the line, then what are the actual cost for you for pushing this down the line instead of doing this now, right? So again, it's always situational when you're handling objection. That's why you need to always do mock calls, understand the service you're selling as a whole, not just by specifics, right? That's what separates a good closer from a great closer. So there are some couple key points that I want to keep in mind once you guys are handling objection, or if someone gave you an objection during a sales call. Again, keep in mind that your main objective as a sales rep, as a closer, is to get them from point A to point B. That's your main goal. So understand that the reason why they're on the call is because they're in pain, right? They're in pain and they need solutions for it. That's why on the call, they're in the call. You need to think of it as if you're helping out your friend, right? You genuinely feel like you want to help them out. And actually you forcing them for the sale, it's not gonna do any benefit, right? So maybe this offer that you're selling right now might not be the best option for them. But again, so most of the time it's just mental gymnastics when they say, oh, this is not for me, etc., etc. And that's where you come in and just help them walk through why this is the best decision for them and give them more clarity. But there are cases as well that you should just generally not actually close them, and you should just put them in the right directions. Now, if you're selling to a single mother and then she got full credit card, limits, and then she got payment plans and she's taking care for the kid and her income is barely anything, then I probably wouldn't move forward with that. Again, understand that you're not just selling your service here, as your reputation also matters while you're handling objection and getting them on the program you're selling. So it's very important to be in an offer that you truly believe that and can actually get results, right? So understand that they're in pain, and then your tonality and your conviction will play a big part on this. So your tonality and conviction is insanely important, especially this, right? Imagine objection handling as a thin rope that you're walking, and if you slip, you're done, right? You might have done a great job at the discovery phase. You might have done a great job at objection. But if they smell a hint of doubt or uncertainty, it will be a complete mirror, right? So your prospect, you're mirroring your prospect, essentially. Imagine yourself as a mirror, and the reason why you're asking these questions is to help them walk through with their thought process. So that's the number one thing, is think about yourself as a mirror, and that's the reason why you're asking those questions. And again, when it comes with conviction, obviously, it comes with experience. So I don't expect you, if you're in your few sales call, it's perfectly normal. Understand that you're not gonna close any deal, and that's why you need to have a abundance mindset when you're in a sales call, right? Think about it like as a nonchalant thing, like, bro, I have more calls coming up. That's the authority that you need to portray. Joe, like let's say Joe is your offer creator. Joe is a pretty busy guy, and we're not here to waste any time. So the main thing is make sure you portray the authority while you're in the call, because again, they're in pain. The reason why they're on a call is so they want to solve a problem. So make sure that you're not so pushy about it, because it's the biggest mistake a lot of closers does, is they hop on a call and they're so attached with the outcome, which is getting their commission. But all in all, the main objective of objection handling is for you to feel the conviction, transfer the energy, and understand that the prospect is in pain, not to you. You can make any money as much as you want because you're a sales rep, you're a closer. So make sure your conviction is good. You mirror them with the right questions, right? You're sitting on the same side of the table as them, so you can actually truly help them out. And again, you need to trust on your skills. At this point, you've done all the mock calls, you've done all the trainings, you've done the best as you can to prepare. Now, you need to trust in your skill set. And if you go off track, or maybe the prospect says something, then you have to understand that that's out of your control, and you need to just fully trust on your skill sets and listen now to the prospect. No framework, no scripts, just listen to the prospect, be attentive on the call, and actually ask the right questions to get to the close and handle the objection, right? So those are the key points I want to keep you guys in mind. And then lastly, before we leave in this call, I want you guys to understand that there's a sequence that I like keeping in mind when handling objection. So, for example, you have your smokescreen objection, and then you have your real objection. But actually, I feel like they have hierarchy. Every objection have hierarchies, right? So let's say if the prospect gives you a fear objection plus money objection, then what you need to do is you need to handle the fear objection first and then the money, right? Because even if you handle the money objection, but if they're fearful, then they're not gonna buy. Right? They don't trust you. They don't trust that they're going to get the results themselves. And even in fear, the fear objection, you need to identify what fear it is. Is it the fear of them committing into this because they don't know you? They just met you a couple days ago from an ad. Or is it the fear of them getting the outcome and trusting on themselves that they can do it themselves because the time, the hours, they've never done something like this before. So it's very important to keep in mind the situations, right? Because it all varies. After that, then they might say, logistics. At this point, I would handle money first and then logistic objection. And after that, you have your partner objection. This is the last thing that you want to handle. So it also depends on partner, because sometimes is it like they want to run it by with their partner, or is it their partner the one who's going to do this, or are they doing this together, right? So you need to, again, identify what type of objection is it truly. That's why you need to be a curious cat, right? You need to ask questions. And then the main objection is from fear objection to money objection to a logistical objection and then to a partner objection. So now, how do you go from a smoke screen to a real objection, right? So this, usually the biggest thing is think about it, send me some more information, need to talk to wife, need to talk to a partner, and then send invoice or whatever. All of these are technically all the same, right? So now you need to identify it, like our previous framework that I showed you guys. Identify it, acknowledge it, and then ask them what exactly is going to come up. What are you guys going to discuss with your wife? What specific information are you looking for? Because I can send you over what we've discussed here, but I'm your best, guy to ask if you have any more information that you're looking for. So besides what we've discussed here, does everything make sense? Is there something specific that you're looking for that we're missing, that we didn't cover? Something that didn't make sense, right? And then think about it, right? Identify what it is. Invoice, does that make sense? Does the pay structure make sense, right? So all those things. Once you acknowledge that, they will usually always now tell the real objection out of all of these four, right? So those are the big objections I can think of, but that's how you can handle any objection, B2B, B2C, and some key points you guys need to keep in mind when you're handling objection. Again, these are also quite situational. This is just a general understanding, especially if you don't know how to handle any objection. But if you have any question, let me know. Make sure to check out the description below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And as always, be a creator, not a consumer. Create something today that will inspire you and others. Peace out.